Everybody Has a Podcast with Chris Herbst is brought to you by Salvino's JR Models, official model car kit company of NASCAR, Indy cars, and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Fully detailed plastic model car kits of your favorite teams and drivers, available at your local hobby store or at salvinosjrmodels.com. Welcome to another edition of Everybody Has a Podcast with Chris Herbst. I am Chris Herbst, and with me as always is Connor Herbst, the producer extraordinaire, and of course my oldest son, my oldest and wisest and most technically advanced son, I think. Cooper's catching you though, isn't he? No. Okay. All right. So Connor is the main man as far as producing and such goes. We've got a busy show. We're going to talk about a place in Los Angeles called Cosm, LA. We're also going to talk about splash hits at Oracle Park. We've got a great interview with somebody that I think you'll be interested in. But Connor and I have been kind of busy the past week, and we've got a busy week ahead of us. My daughter, Kennedy, is getting married next weekend. So we've been over at Granny Annie's. That's my mom's house where the wedding is going to be. Getting the area ready for the wedding, and it's been a great time, hasn't it, Connor?
Yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah, everybody's been in town. Everybody's been helping out doing it. My sister, Connor's Auntie Beth, has been there. My brother, Uncle Kent, has been doing a whole, excuse my language, but shit ton of work over there to get it rolling, and all kinds of family and friends are coming into town here in the next 5 or 6 days, and we've got a wedding going, so that should be fun. But even more importantly, Connor, is this upcoming week is the Lakers open up their season.
Yep, on Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
You just told me.
That's even more exciting for me. I'm kidding. Of course, the wedding's exciting, but I love basketball season. I love the chance that the Lakers are getting to go again. Connor and I were talking a little bit. Basketball is Connor's favorite sport, and we were talking a little bit before we started the podcast, and Connor just really doesn't have time to watch Laker games anymore, right?
Yeah, I'm recording a show on Tuesday night, so Tuesday's shot for me, and that's weeknights are usually the days that the Lakers play. So
yeah, I've learned as I've been married now for I'm going to say a wrong year, so 30 plus years I've been married, and I've learned that your entertainment. You've got to kind of pick and choose what your entertainment is. And I used to watch everything before I was married, or sports-wise, before I was married or even dating Melissa. But it's since changed. I have to kind of pick and choose, because if I continue to watch sports like I used to watch sports, and I think I talked about it on the first podcast, I would watch anything back in the day on ESPN late at night, watch chess, watch the lumberjack competitions. I would watch wiffle ball, you name it. I watch it. I can't watch that stuff anymore. And even NFL season, I've got the Sunday ticket to where I watch all NFL games in the red zone, but I've had to even kind of temper that. I don't watch the Sunday night games. We're usually watching a show together, Melissa and I, but I'll have it on my phone so I can check and see what's going on. But I don't really dig in anymore. It's just you got to kind of ration out your entertainment and your sports viewing activities. And I guess you're kind of in the same thing now with the other stuff that you got going on, Connor. So,
yep.
But that's life. I still get plenty of sports in my life. And the next day I can always do recaps and figure out what the heck went on that I missed. And I do that. So I spend a lot of time checking that out. So, you know what? Before we go any further, let's just get right into it. Let's get into our Real Talk today. And our Real Talk today is really kind of cool. So hit it, Connor. So today on Real Talk, we are going to talk about, it's almost, I feel like I'm doing an advertisement here. Now, I've never been here. I've heard some people that have been here, and I've got a friend that actually went to this, and they said it was absolutely amazing. And it's Cosm, COSM, and there's one in Los Angeles. There's also one in Dallas, Fort Worth. Connor just pulled up the website there. This place looks incredible, and from what I've heard, it is incredible. It's what they're calling a immersive shared reality. So you don't have to wear headphones or anything like that. You buy your tickets, you sit down, and everything is pretty much in 360-degree immersive experience. They say it's like you're at the stadium. And, you know, different prices, different tickets. We'll get into that in a little bit. What I want to do, though, is first play just a real quick clip from a news station in Dallas. They sent a reporter out to cover this place. So if we can play that clip number 1, Connor, it's Cosm DFW's new immersive experience. It talks about a little bit about what this place is about. It gives us a brief idea of what it's about. Yeah, that one right there.
If you're like me, you would probably love to go with family and friends to as many sporting events, theatrical productions, travel the world, or go into space as much as possible. But that's pretty much impossible unless you come here. This is Cosm.
Look at this.
Cosm allows you to see things and experience things in a new visual medium that really hasn't been done before.
Cosm is hard to explain because there is nothing like it in the world. Located at the Grandscape in the Colony, Cosm is an immersive shared reality experience, and it is mesmerizing.
It's very much so an overwhelming experience.
Connor, look
For
at that.
75
How
years,
freaking cool is
Cosm
that?
built
Yeah, it's really
planetariums,
cool.
and then a few years
It's
ago
like the Vegas
realized
dome,
this
but more
technology
realistic.
Yeah.
could take you from the night sky to anywhere under the sun.
Our dome really
So they've got all
transports you
these little
into the
shelves
entertainment,
like this
so you
that-
really
that
feel
you
like
can
you're a
buy
part of
tickets
it
to
and you're
go check
surrounded
out.
and immersed by it.
The dome is show-stopping, putting you in the middle of nature, art, and so much more. It opens this weekend with college football. And no, you're not just watching the TV broadcast. Cosm has its own production crew and its own cameras at these games to make
Which
you
is super
feel
cool.
like you're there.
At Cosm, the world is your stadium. Anywhere you could possibly imagine watching sports, you'll get to experience that here.
Cosm also includes the Hall, 135 feet of screens with a full-service bar and kitchen. It's an experience that will capture.
See, now that place is kind of cool if you don't want to spend a bunch of money, Connor, and just go hang out like a giant sports bar. That looks cool. You're not in the
Yeah,
dome.
that's perfect sports bar stuff. Like just having a sports bar with that, which is what this is, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much an immersive sports bar. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty freaking cool. So I looked into it a little bit more. So reserved seats in the dome, where it looks like you're sitting in a stadium, depending on the event and depending on the day as well, because it's all week. It's not just weekends. Reserved seats there are anywhere from $55 to around $100. So I checked it out. We were talking about the Laker game opening Tuesday. They're playing the Laker game on Tuesday there. It's already sold out, but tickets there were the lowest end were $99. There's 3 separate sections in LA that you can buy. There's a reserved 1, a reserved 2, and a reserved 3. The reserved 1 is the closest to the screen and down below, and of course 2 and 3 step up further. But it's already sold out for the Laker game. You cannot purchase. So you have to purchase way in advance. Play a clip number 2, Connor. It's the Cosm Dallas Texas A&M. Yeah, that one right there. This is just gives you an idea what it looks like when you're actually watching a game.
Now the rookie left tackle has Shamar Stewart, who's 6'6", 290.
I mean, it looks like you're sitting at the game, right? I mean, right?
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
And the great thing is they even have those like big screens there in front of you, so you can watch the game if that gets too distracting where you're sitting. I mean, that looked like the guy came right to the sideline right in front of you right there. So like I said, they got a big screen up top to where you can see everything as well, so you're not missing any of the action if you get distracted by what's happening right in front of you.
Yeah, I'd love to go to this.
Yeah, that'd be great. Play a clip number 4. Clip number 3. It's called The Big House. Go to the Big House one. Yeah. Because again, this is just another college football, so this is up higher. But again, look at this. So this I'd imagine is their reserved 3 area. So that was it. Play that one more time, just so it gives you an idea. It's still a great seat, right?
Yeah, it's just like you're at a game, but
yeah.
you're not.
Yeah.
So there's like a tier system, right, where you purchase all of these different levels of where you can sit, what your view is going to be.
Yes. Yes, and there's certain there's tables, and then there's like bar seats as well too. So you can sit at a table. I think they have 4 seats at a table. So you buy a couple of seats so you and a buddy can sit there. Or you can buy 4, but sometimes you'll be at a table with a couple of people you don't know if just you go by yourself or such. Or you can do those bench seats, which are more expensive down below, and it's almost like individual where you're sitting at a bar. But it looks pretty amazing to me. There's another one. Play clip number 5. It's No Bad Seat. That one. And this just again shows up a little bit higher. This is level 1 view, so this is pretty freaking cool. I mean, look at that. It's like, I think they have these backwards. I think level 1 was higher up, level 2, because I think level 1 is the closer one. I think they marked this wrong when they did this video, because when I looked at it, yeah, that's definitely level 3. It's up higher. Isn't that cool though?
Yeah,
I mean, really.
Cool.
And look at the seats, nice plush seats.
They got good food there.
Apparently they pulled a couple of chefs from real nice restaurants. I didn't look into it. I just read something about the chefs, and the food is supposed to be really, really good as well. When I talked to my friends that went, they didn't say anything really about the food. They were just kind of mesmerized by the way it was. There's one more. It's the clip right above that, Connor, and this one kind of gives you another example of the area inside as well where you're sitting. I told you about the tables that you're sitting at, so you'll see that on this as well too. Coming right at you. So
it is kind of funny that they look like giants when they're really close.
Yeah, when they're right next to you. But that's the Cosm. I'm looking forward to it. Maybe you and I can head out, Connor, some weekend and not necessarily go see a sporting event. Maybe go see one of the planetarium things or whatever. But because they do a Cirque du Soleil show that's in the dome there, which would be pretty cool. There's also another part. I can't remember what it's called. Gosh darn it. I think it's called like the balcony. But what it is, it's a whole outdoor patio where you can go, and they have TVs out there, and it's out in the fresh air, and you can sit out there. And it's a general admission ticket as well too. I think the general admission to get into just the bar area that we showed you is $20, and the same thing for the up top thing. So it's not real expensive for a day of hanging out, I guess.
No, it's not expensive at all.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. Especially when you got to go to movies now, or what, $15 for a movie
This
ticket.
does sound sponsored.
Yeah, it really does. It sounds like I'm trying to sell Cosm, but I'm not. It just looked really cool to me, so I thought I'd share it with everybody else. And if you live in Dallas-Fort Worth or in the LA area, maybe go check it out and let me know in the comments section what you thought about it. If you thought it was cool, if you thought it was what it looks like to me, because I think it looks really, really super cool. But anyway, that's the Cosm. So we'll drop my advertisement now. Cosm, if you want to just send me some free tickets, I'll take those as well too for this cool little shout out that I gave you guys. Now we're gonna do a little sports. Let's do a sports segment we like to call On the Sidelines. Hit it, Connor. So on the sidelines today, we're going to talk about something that happened a few weeks ago, but to set it up, I got to talk about what it actually is. So there's a thing at Oracle Park in San Francisco where the Giants play called splash hits. And what splash hits are balls that are hit over the right field wall, over the walkway, and into San Francisco Bay, which they have renamed McCovey Cove. And there's been quite a few that have been hit into McCovey Cove. Let me just show you the first clip, just so you get an idea. Play clip number 1. This is the very first splash hit at Oracle, and it was, of course, Barry Bonds. And we'll talk more about the boats and the kayaks in a little bit. But that was the very first splash hit. It was in 2002, and it was Barry Bonds, the Giants' greatest slugger, and a lot of people say the greatest slugger in baseball history. Now, of course, you can asterisk it. He's not in the Hall of Fame, and he probably will never get into the Hall of Fame because of the steroid issues. But the guy hit mammoth monster home runs. So he was the first one to hit a home run into McCovey Cove at Oracle Park, and he started the splash hits. He also has the most of, well, there's when they put the first splash hit up on the board. So they do that for every Giant home run. Okay? For opposing teams, they don't count them as splash hits because they don't want to, which makes total sense. But that was the first one. Barry Bonds is the leader with 35 splash hits for the Giants. The next closest is a guy a lot of you probably have never even heard of, unless you're a Giants fan. Who, he was an all-star, but Brandon Belt has 10. So Barry Bonds has 35. Brandon Belt has 10. That just kind of goes to show you how great Barry Bonds was, especially at Oracle Park, and being a left-handed hitter with that power alley to the left to where he could just hammer it into the bay. Brandon Belt was next closest with 10. There are 2 players in the history of Major League Baseball that played for the Giants and had a splash hit, and then played for an opposing team and had a splash hit. That was Jock Peterson of the Dodgers, and he also has 7 total splash hits, but he hit 1 as a Dodger, and he's hit 6 as a Giant. And then, who was the other? Ryan Klesko, who played for a long time for the Atlanta Braves, but he did play for the Giants, had a splash hit, and he also played for the San Diego Padres and had a splash hit. So let's go to clip number 2. That's Bonds in the 0-2 NLCS. Yes. So there's only been 1 home run hit during the playoffs at Oracle Park, and it was this one right here, and it was the 2002 National League Championship Series. You think he got it? Did you see what he did with this bat as soon as he hit it? Barry was famous for that. Now, let's be honest, he was an ass. He was an absolute ass.
That, yeah.
But Barry Bonds was a... So at the time, Barry Bonds, when Barry Bonds was a thing, I was in sports talk radio, and he would not do interviews. He didn't talk to media. He was just a surly guy. And he got surlier as his career went on. And then after his career, he's loosened up a little bit. But he was a tough guy to handle. Just was not the greatest guy. So that home run there, though, tied up the score 4-4. It was a 3-run jack. And the guy in the canoe with the ball was pretty excited about it. Just stop it, Connor, and go all the way back to the very beginning and watch when he hits it. Watch Barry and his reaction. He showboated quite frequently. And I think this one you'll see what I mean.
And the iconic earring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. But watch what he does. He doesn't even move. The way he drops the bat.
So much power. It's
oh,
insane.
dude, he was so strong. He hit the longest home run I've ever seen at Angel Stadium in the World Series against the Angels. It's the one, it's pretty famous, you know. We could probably look it up if you want to, Connor, while we're talking about something else.
We have the DVDs.
Yeah, we do have the DVDs. We do have the DVDs, absolutely, because I watch it every year at the beginning of the baseball season. But he hit a ball so far, and Tim Salmon's lips in the dugout says, I have never seen a ball hit that far. He absolutely smoked. Anyway, let's get off of this one. But he's the only Giant to ever have a splash hit in the postseason. Also, let's do his last splash hit, Connor. Yeah, we showed his first, we showed his postseason, and just crushed it. That was home run number 757.
Back in the day when you couldn't track the baseball on TV.
Yes, exactly. That's when he was chasing the home run record, the single-season home run record as well, too. And he was hitting everything that year. He led the league in intentional walks. I don't have it in front of me. I can look it up. But he was issued more intentional walks than anybody ever in a season. And it's a record that one of those that I don't think will ever be broken. They just wouldn't pitch to him back then. Yeah, but he absolutely smashed that one. Play clip 4. We talked about the boats and the kayaks a little bit. There it is right below it. Yeah. So fans hang out there with fishing nets, boats, kayaks, and race to get the balls in the bay. Just kind of a fun thing. Look at this guy. And I'm going to say something. I don't know when this was, but if this was in July, August, September, that water up there is freezing cold.
These guys are nut jobs.
Yeah. I mean, that water is cold. Anybody that lived up in the Bay Area or has lived up in the Bay Area, you know how cold it is in September up there. Actually, August up there at nighttime. That fog rolls in and it's chilly. So yeah, that was pretty funny. Well, the main reason I got into this at all, or even was talking about it, is something happened at the end of the season on September 15th that has never been done at Oracle Park. Go ahead and play the clip, Connor, and we'll talk about it afterwards.
You get a look at the angle of the arm slot that Suarez has. You can just get an idea as to how high it is. With a high release like he has, and you throw down around the knees, you're going to get some serious tilt. Down the line. It will. It is out of here. Did he do it?
Well, he did it.
And now we want to find out if that went into the water.
Oh, he did it.
Because if it did, there's never been a right-handed hitter that has done it since this ballpark opened its doors in 2000.
There you go.
We're talking
That's
batting.
why that was so significant. Nobody right-handed has ever hit the ball into McCovey Cove. And the reason is most people that, if you follow baseball, you understand. That's inside outing the ball. Most people, when they hit home runs and are big home run hitters, are pull hitters. And you pull the ball. So left-handed hitters hit the ball down the line there a lot. Right-handed hitters, by the way, there had never even been, they said, anybody that had hit a ball into McCovey Cove in batting practice as a right-handed hitter up until this point. I don't know if I believe that. I tried to look into that a little more, but I couldn't tell. But there had been 100, so there's 167 splash hits, which are San Francisco Giants, that have been, or 167 total, 105 by Giants that have gone into the Bay. Only one by a right-handed hitter. 1,624 right-handed batters had come to the plate at Oracle Park without hitting a ball into McCovey Cove before Heliot Ramos did it. Which, think about that. Over 1,600 people had stepped to the plate as a right-handed batter and not done that, and he did it. So now the question's going to be, Connor, is anybody going to do it again, and how long is it going to take? These kind of things kind of seem to go in spurts, sports stuff like that, but I don't know if it's ever going to happen again.
People are probably trying to do it now.
Oh, yeah. I bet people are trying to.
It brings publicity.
Yeah. I mean, hey, they'd probably be on Everybody Has a Podcast with Chris Herbst if they do it again, because I know I'll bring it up if somebody else does it.
I'm sure they're biting at the heel.
Yeah, they're really excited about that. But so play it one more time, just to rewind it, and let's show a right-handed hitter hit the ball into McCovey Cove. And let's let this one go the whole way, the 125, so we can get all his accolades from the guys in the booth too.
With a high release like he has, and you throw down around the knees, you're going to get some serious tilt. Down the line. It will. It is out of here.
Dave. Dave got it. Way to go, Dave.
And now we want to find out if that went into the water. Because if it did, there's never been a right-handed hitter that has done it since this ballpark opened its doors in 2000.
He just curled it right around the foul pole, too.
We've never seen this off the bat of a right-handed hitter.
I mean, it was close. Almost foul.
Elevado a lo profundo del derecho, la pelota se está elevando.
Nice bat flip. Yeah.
La pelota se fue de
And he's a pretty good player too.
Y el juego se empata a dos
carreras.
Y yo no sé si esa pelota se fue de aire al agua, pero lo que
pelota, I know that. That's ball.
que terminó en el agua.
So, let's just wanted to give Ramos his flowers a little bit more. So congratulations to him on being the first to ever be a right-handed hitter hitting a ball into McCovey Cove. That's really, really kind of cool. So that's it for On the Sidelines this week. And now we've got something that I'm really excited about. We got a really cool interview. So let's just move on to our interview there, Connor.
All right.
All right, what can I say about my next guest, Patrick Reynolds? He's an award-winning filmmaker, a photographer, a former magazine publisher, and a once steady working jazz musician. I think they call that, what is that, Pat? A Renaissance man, absolutely. But to me, he's just another one of my butthole friends, a guy I've known quite some time, big-time Laker fan, but also a person that has put together a documentary film that is getting some really good movement in the world of documentary films. And that person, ladies and gentlemen, is the one, the only, Patrick Reynolds. Patrick Reynolds.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thanks,
man.
everybody.
Thanks for coming on board, buddy. I appreciate it.
I feel good to be here. I feel comfortable.
Okay, good. That's what I always shoot for. So, hey, before we even get into your documentary that you did called
Yes.
Hendrie, Hendrie, could you
Correct.
explain?
Thank you for spelling it.
Yeah, because people don't know. I can see them doing with the Y and not having a clue. And that's what I was going to get to with you right now is I know there's some people out there, believe it or not, that don't know who Phil Hendrie is or what Phil Hendrie did. I, from a radio background, being in radio for a while, know who Phil Hendrie is. But if you could explain a little bit about who Phil Hendrie is and why you decided to do this documentary.
Okay. Well, who Phil Hendrie is in my opinion, is an artist who sort of he's an influential comic mind, and I say that way because even though he was in the medium of radio, he's he transcended that medium and sort of did this thing that was very, very unique, and it influenced a lot of comedians, more straight comedians and comic writers that a lot of people would have heard of or would have known their work.
Mm-hmm. His uniqueness, Pat. Explain a little bit about what made him so unique, or excuse me, makes him so unique. Phil's still with us, of course.
That's
right. But what makes him so unique? What did he do on his radio program that was so groundbreaking and so different?
Mm-hmm. So he would do this this act where it was a satire of talk radio. And so by that, he would have there would be a straight host, which was Phil himself, and then there would be these guests who were quite consistently extreme, and they would have I'll give you a for instance. There would be like a guy who had an organization called the Weather Warriors, and this was a hobbyist who liked to talk about weather. And you'd soon find out that this guy, he would say things like, well, you know, he would speak very authoritatively, and he would say, well, you know, like we all know that we don't know where rain comes from, because, you know, it's completely mysterious where rain comes from. And then people would call in and they would say, well, actually, we do know where rain comes from. And he would say, well, I don't think so. You know, what do you mean? And then they would explain where rain comes from, and he would say, well, that's one theory. And then people would get really frustrated on the other side, and this like craziness would ensue. And when you listen for the first time, you go, oh man, what's going on here, man? Like this shit is kind of off, you know, but it sounds completely real. And then you come to find out that he, in fact, he's the guest and the host, and he had this very incredibly unique technique that he had developed himself, where he could interrupt himself and make you believe, and everyone did, that this was one person. You usually would have to be told that this was a shtick.
Oh yeah.
And then once you realized that it was a shtick, you suddenly thought, what? This guy is on the radio playing a joke on what you at first you feel like is half the audience. Like he's playing a joke, like that doesn't even make any sense. But then as you kind of go a little farther, you realize, oh man, this is the thing, because then you feel like you're part of this inside joke. And
Exactly.
he created hours and hours and hours of incredible content because he's a master improviser on the highest level, and he had conceptually he came up with ideas that got people burning over and over again.
Absolutely. And in your documentary, I mean, you see a lot of that. They're showing how he does the voices, and it's just, to me, it's fascinating. I mean, he's actually holding, the phone, being the guy on the phone, and then going back to his microphone and back and forth. And like you said, interrupting himself. And it's almost, you could swear that he's arguing and the voices are going over each other at times, but they aren't. It was masterful and it was hilarious. And the main thing that you brought up that I think is the best part of it is, if you weren't in on the joke, you were part of the joke until you figured it out. And the first time I heard him, and this was, years and years and years ago, I didn't get it. And after about the first show, I went, wait a minute, this can't be. And then I figured it out, and then talked to somebody else that had been listening to him, and they explained it. And from then on, it was one of those you can't miss shows, because you want to see how many people he cooked and how many people would call just pissed off. That's the best thing, is the callers calling in.
Oh my God. I mean, and by the way, that was something that was very important to Phil, was whoever screened the show had to find the people that were the proper straight man, if you will. Because what ended up happening was that the caller would be sort of a straight man, because in a group, where all of a sudden, they're just going nuts. And the crazier that and the angrier that they got, everyone in the audience who knows the deal that was just another dimension of comedy, where you're, oh my God, these people are just eating this bait, and it is fantastic.
It's great. I'm talking with Patrick Reynolds. He is the producer and director of a documentary out there called Hendrie, Hendrie, about the iconic radio personality Phil Hendrie. In your documentary as well, Patrick, you've got some legitimate 5-star stars, celebrities, that talk about how Phil Hendrie was part of their life, and part of what they've done going forward was because of Phil Hendrie. So tell us about some of the people that are in the documentary as well.
Sure. Well, I mean, probably the biggest star that's in that documentary is Bill Hader from Saturday Night Live and Barry and tons of movies. I'm sure most people that watch or into comedy know Bill Hader. And he was a massive fan. In fact, in the introduction to the film, Bill talks about Phil and says that he's one of his, when it's Monty Python, it's like Madeline Kahn, and it's Phil Hendrie. I think he mentions somebody else, but I mean, he was a major influence on guys like that. Judd Apatow, speaks of him in a very holy way. One of the ones that I thought was really great is Dana Gould, who's a stand-up comedian. Not everybody knows who Dana Gould is, but he's a great stand-up comedian, and he was also a writer for The Simpsons.
For years, yeah, absolutely. At the beginning, when they were The Simpsons, yes.
Yeah, like the heyday of The Simpsons. And and that room was full of all kinds of amazing people, like Conan O'Brien, Harry Shearer, and all this stuff. Well, Harry Shearer was the cast, but and he was saying that all of those guys would just geek out on Phil, So, and then we have Henry Rollins in there, which is completely different kind of a thing. But Henry's, for those younger people, Henry was a major punk icon. And it's so cool that a guy that was just, you know, into beating the shit out of his audience and spitting on them and stuff. And, you know, was also like a big Phil fan and is still a big Phil fan. Derek Waters is in it from Drunk History. And Kevin Pollak is
Oh
in there.
yeah.
He was a super big fan. Kevin's, you know, was in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and a lot of other movies and stuff. So yeah, and honestly, man, like there was a lot of people that I was told are massive um, Phil fans. In fact, I didn't mention this to you when we talked, but Bill Murray is supposedly a really big fan.
I can
And
absolutely see that. That fits.
yeah,
That
and I
fits.
tracked, and this is a little behind the scenes. You know that he's got that 1-800 number. Have you ever
Yes.
heard this?
Yes.
So
Yes.
he doesn't have an agent or anything. He just has this 1-8, or legend has it. He has this 1-800 number, and if you can get the number, you can like leave a message, and he might call you back. And it's a true thing because the producer of my film, Jordan, he interviewed somebody on his podcast that did that, and they actually got a call back. And he's the director of St. Vincent. But anyway, I did get the number, and I left a message, but he didn't.
No, I
Obviously,
didn't get a call back.
yeah.
Well, yeah. So you know, you spent some time with Phil Hendrie as well too, and I
Lots, yeah.
just and I gotta know, you know, everything I've heard and read about the man is he's down to earth and just honestly a sweetheart of a guy. Sometimes when you meet your quote unquote heroes, you know,
Mhm.
you get a different feeling. What was he like personally? When the time that you spent with him, what was Phil Hendrie like? And please
Well,
tell me he was a good guy because I don't want him to be a bad guy.
well, I'll tell you this: that having just been a listener and hearing him, yes, do his comedy. I also heard sometimes where he deviated from the comedy and he would just eviscerate people or people in the news or whatever it was. He could be a very sharp-tongued, like scary kind of a wit, you know. And I did not know who he was going to be in real life, and I was really afraid that he was going to just thrill me, and I was very nervous about that. But yeah, I'm here to tell you, like he's just an amazing dude and like a very very sweet man and like just a compassionate kind of a guy, and he he was very good to me all throughout the thing. He never stopped saying thank you, brother, you know, and all that stuff. And he and I don't think I'm speaking out of school. We never signed a contract before this, you know, like I never. It was the whole thing was on a handshake, and he was just. Neither one of us ever even thought about it. I mean, I didn't think about it, and eventually when we got distribution, I had to get the thing signed, and he was like, "Yeah, sure." So yeah, I thought that was like a testament to what kind of a person he is. You
Sure,
know,
sure.
super great.
I mean, so
And
a
it's
nice,
funny all the time.
yeah, a nice guy
Like the
and a brilliant guy. I mean, he is, you know, that word gets thrown around sometimes in entertainment or whatever, but
Mhm.
yeah, everybody says he's just brilliant. And if you just listen to some of his archived shows or any of his stuff, or watch this documentary, guys and gals, it's called Hendrie and it's available on streaming services out there. Watch it because it's how long is it, Pat? I don't even remember how long it was because it flew by when I watched it.
It's an hour and change, like an hour and 10,
Yeah,
something like that.
it's not a 3 hour gigantic thing.
Mm-mm.
It's an hour and 10 minutes, and it goes by so quickly, and it's done. Pat, I'm going to tell you, I know you're my friend, but this is kind of blowing the smoke up your ass a little bit, but it's the truth. It's done very well, very professional, very revealing. I mean, a lot of the stuff about Phil Hendrie, even though I was a fan, I didn't know about Phil Hendrie when they go back through
Sure.
some of the stuff. So it's really really done well, and it's a great documentary. I'm really proud of you for that, Pat, and you should be proud of
Thank
your
you.
work, man. What?
Well, the point of it was that beyond him being just a funny dude and like a guy that was completely different, the takeaway for me with the whole Phil thing was that he was a guy that he followed the muse, and while an entire industry was basically saying like, what? I don't know what the fuck this is. What are you doing? And he had a lot of insecurities about that, but he just just continued on relentlessly, just not doubting himself as an artist. And that for me was very, very profound.
And that really comes, by the way, that comes through in the documentary. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then I also tried to make it funny.
Yeah.
So
yeah, some of the stuff,
which by the way wasn't all that easy, because as you know, like the bits are like 15 minutes long.
Right.
And I had to like try to figure out how to kind of like still make it funny, and I didn't want to compete with him either. You know what I mean? So it was a trick to kind of do it, and I was glad to hear people say that like they laughed through the whole thing.
And I laughed.
And I would also, yeah, and I think the other reason for that, beyond my masterful editing, is that his work, thankfully, has not aged, in a poor way. It's really it's super relevant. It works today.
Yeah, it could have been done yesterday, some of that stuff. Seriously, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very relevant, and it's very topical, and it's still funny, and that's the key. I mean, that's
what I mean. I was, sometimes you hear comedy that you thought was hilarious, like guys old like you that were like around in the 90s. I don't know about that shit, but like I have older friends like you, and they say, sometimes they listen to a comic, and like it doesn't hold up when you play it back. You're like, that was funny then, but it's not funny now.
Right.
But that's not the case.
No, not at all. Well, hey man, I love talking to you about this documentary, and I'm gonna once again tell everybody, if you haven't seen it and you got an hour and 10 minutes or so, and you're looking for something to watch, it's streaming out there. It's called Hendrie, and Pat Reynolds, my buddy here, put it together, and it's really good. And it's getting, like I said, you're getting some pretty good play from this as well. Are you hearing some good things about it?
Yeah, so far, I mean, I think I tell you, I try not, they hold that thing they say about like comments, like don't deal with comments,
read it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I made that mistake, of course. I got on Reddit at one point, and like a lot of people on Reddit were saying pretty positive things.
Well,
but
that's
yeah,
good. Well, it's deserved.
There was a couple of it.
It's deserved. Hey, I'm going to move on real quick from just real fast, because Pat not only is a wonderful, like I just said, documentarian we've discussed, and some of the other stuff he did, but he's also a giant Laker fan like myself. So we got the opening of the season coming up real soon. Pat, where are they going to finish? How are they going to do this year? Is it going to be better than last year? What do you think?
Oh, this is a prognostication?
Yes, I want a prognostication from Patrick Reynolds on his Lakers.
All righty. Okay, this is what I think. I think that a lot of people are underestimating JJ. And I would like to just go on. I'm glad we're being recorded, because I was an early adopter, but I was talking about JJ as a coach long before any of this shit. Like when he was doing that podcast, I was like, God damn, this guy is a coach, man. No doubt about it. He's like a very, very detail-oriented dude. And I think that's what the Lakers desperately need, both morally, morale. Shannon.
For their morale.
Thank you. It's going to be good for their morale, and it's also going to just be good for the X's and O's. They're like, they're running sets now a lot more than they ever did. I'm hoping that he also uses that fastidiousness for defense. I'm looking at the preseason, and I'm a little bit shaky. I'm looking and going like, wow, there's some missed assignments here, but I'm assuming that that's going to change. I don't know if they stick with this exact team. I'm assuming they're going to make some sort of changes, but even if they don't, and they run a really, really good system, I kind of think that they can get like the say now that we're into this prediction business, I'm gonna say they're gonna finish seventh,
Okay.
me and with and there might even be like they might be fucking around with six.
Okay, so they don't no play-in. No play-in
No
tournament.
play-in
All right,
this year.
okay, I'm with that. I'm good. That's
Yeah,
what I was thinking.
and another prediction, they will not do well in the in-season tournament.
Not even going to try. No, they're going to try.
I
but
think
what,
they're,
yeah,
I think they're
definitive.
just going to play normal because I think it bit them in the ass last time.
Yeah.
And they're and either they're going to subconsciously not try to win it, or not try to win it, or they're going to just say fuck it. I don't.
Yeah, I don't
we
want to
don't
deal with it.
put
Yeah,
any
let's
importance.
focus on what's important. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I get it, and I hope they do. All right, so Pat's got the Lakers in at least seventh. You'll like this. I'm going
Yes,
fifth.
please.
I'm going the 5 seed. I'm saying the 5 seed this year, which is
I like what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm factoring in some inevitable injuries.
Well, yeah, that's part of the problem because they got healthy. They were healthy all year last year. LeBron played 71 games. AD played more games than he's played in years. Can it happen again, especially at LeBron, who will be turning, 40 this year? It's going to be
That's
tough, but if they can, even if he plays like 60, I'm telling you, the JJ Redick thing to me as well is a big part of this, and just how he sets his rotation and how they're running set plays, and he wants them to shoot and not be afraid of shooting. I agree. I think they're going to be better.
Well, and if Connect can flourish, Connect can connect, and I want to see Reeves become a more consistent 3-point shooter. And I assume he's really, really working on that.
Yeah.
So if we have a few guys that can really, do the thing, then, we'll be all right.
All right, man. All right. So last thing, you ready for this? This is a little something that we call the Fast Five, this or that. It's something we keep track of. And I'm going to ask you 5 questions. You have to answer one or the other and tell me why, and we will score it for you. Right now, our champion going into this podcast is Arnie Spanier from Fox Sports Radio. So you're on the clock. You're on the clock, Patrick Reynolds. And here we go. The first one is Ford or Chevy?
Okay, well, I'm going to say Chevy because Ford was a very notorious anti-Semite, I believe.
Okay.
And I'm going to say that I don't want to say Ford because fuck that guy.
Okay.
But I can't say that I haven't had a few Fords and they were just fine.
You know what? You're getting a 5-pointer on this, Pat. A perfect
Oh,
score.
really?
And here's why. A couple things.
Uh-huh. Go
What
ahead.
you said about Ford, yes.
Yeah.
Number 2, Chevy used to have Bob Seger with the Like a Rock song for their trucks.
Like a rock.
And Bob Seger's one of my guys. So 5 points for Pat on Ford or Chevy. Nice work.
Take that, Arnie Spanier.
Next, punk or metal?
Oh, punk, 100%. Because metal, there was way too much pretentiousness with it. Hairspray and makeup and all this bullshit. I mean, and punk is just raw energy saying fuck society, which I think, sometimes we all feel like that. And punk is also found its way, in my opinion, positively into other art forms where it's like there's sophistication, but there's punk. You know what I mean? Like, like the Clash had like this beautiful mix of that kind of thing. And then there's been films that you look at and you go like, God damn, that's like almost like punk, but it's not, So punk without a shadow of a doubt.
And
I'd like to get at least a 4 for that.
And by the way, Henry Rollins was in the documentary, one of the greatest punk performers and punk frontmen in the world. So, you know what?
You kind of volleyed that one up for me. And
I'm going to give you a 4.2. 4.2.
Well, oh, there's a point. There's points.
Oh yeah,
there's point 2.
You're getting a 4.2. You're getting a 4.2 on that one. I can't.
Okay.
It's really hard to give a full 5 on anything, but you got a 5 on the first one. All right.
Thank you.
Big wheel or slot car track?
I thought you were going to say big wheel or matchbox.
No.
No, big wheel. Wait a minute. Big wheel's the one where you like actually ride a race.
Yeah.
Or the slot. Oh, I get it.
So which one would you ride? Which one as a kid or now?
This is easy. The big wheel with the adjustable seat. Not that I would know about that, but I have some older friends that know about that kind of shit, and they told me. there's an adjustable seat back, and anything that's fully rotomold plastic with an adjustable seat back that you can actually travel. You can actually travel. I mean, I don't know if anybody ever did any traveling on a big wheel, but I would, and I would let my children.
Hey,
do
I'm going
that.
to tell you right now, there was nothing more fun as a kid or a young adult getting flying on a big wheel on some wet concrete and slamming on that handbrake and doing a spin. You'd wear your tires. Sometimes there'd be holes in the big wheels, and you'd have to go get a new big wheel. But that's
That's
great.
like Riverside Olympics.
Yeah,
isn't
but
it?
exactly. But I am going to say this one thing about it. One reason that I'm going to go, I'm going to give you a 3.5, 3.5, because there's nothing better for me than on a Christmas Day, opening up a slot car track and the smell of that electricity and that plastic from the slot car track was pretty thick and cool. But I'll still go with the big wheel with you. All right. So 1, 2, 3. This will be number 4. Pringles or Lay's?
Oh, Pringles. I mean, the fact that they, the canister, the stacks, the option to eat 3 at a time, or if you want to go sliver style,
You can do the duck bill with
you can use as a prop.
and you got the chips. Hey,
Once the fucking chips are gone, you can use it to like put shit in.
yeah, can't like
I don't know, I
screws,
didn't
nuts
do that
and
with a
bolts,
Lay's bag.
nuts and bolts in it. You know what, Pat? 4.2 again. Pat, you're doing very well. You should be
I'm
very
feeling
proud
it
of
today.
yourself.
I feel like I'm in the zone.
All right, last one. Barf or puke?
Oh, ugh. I do like spew myself.
Spew's a good one, but yeah, I'm sorry, man. I gave you barf or puke.
Yes, you did. I'm gonna say I think puke. I think puke is more automatopoeia. Am I using that correct?
Well, yeah, but I mean barf.
Yeah, maybe that's more
Yes,
automatopoeia. I'm still gonna go with puke because puke has like an immediacy to it. Like puke, like it's
it's more
feels
puke's a little bit more masculine. I
masculine.
think. Yeah. So Pat, I'm going to downgrade you a little on this one because I'm a fan of the barf. I'm going to give you a 3, but that's still a good score. You didn't do any 2s. You should be very proud of what you've done. Connor, what is our score here?
So that was
5 questions.
I agree that I didn't do as good on puke. as I
Pringles
did
or
on
Lay's?
others.
What was the points I gave you on Pringles or Lay's? I think I gave you a 4. Yeah.
4. I thought it was a 4. Wasn't it 4.2?
4.2. Yeah, 4.2.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 4.2s.
And a 5.
Connor's mathing. This is hard because there's the points.
What did Arnie Spanier get?
19.9. You blew him out of the water, Pat. You are the leader in the clubhouse. Patrick Reynolds.
This feels really good. Really, really feels good.
See, this is more important to you than any documentary you've ever done or anything that you've ever accomplished in your life. You can go
Absolutely.
back now and say on the Everybody Has a Podcast with Chris Herbst, you are the leader in the clubhouse on the scoreboard for Fast 5, this or that. I'm so proud.
It makes me want to puke.
Hey, buddy, Patrick, again, loved that you came on board. Appreciate it. Everybody, please go check out the documentary, Hendrie. It's streaming on streaming services right now. You will be happy that you did. It's really enlightening, and it's a very good documentary. And then you'll learn a little bit more about Mr. Phil Hendrie, one of the greatest comedians of our time. So, Patrick, thanks again, buddy. Love you. Go Lakers.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Talk to you soon, buddy. All right, so that's it for another edition of Everybody Has a Podcast with Chris Herbst. Thanks for coming aboard and watching all the way to the end, because if you watched all the way to the end, you're hearing me say thank you. Also, be sure to hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a nickel. What it does, though, is it keeps you up to date on all the happenings around Everybody Has a Podcast with Chris Herbst and alerts you to when new ones drop, so you can watch that one as well, or those ones as well. So, thanks to Connor Herbst, my producer extraordinaire and eldest son, and just a wonderful man. So he's single, ladies. So that's for Connor. Also, thank you to Patrick Reynolds. Please check out that wonderful documentary, Hendrie. I think you'll really appreciate it. Also, thanks to Oracle Park and Splash Hits, to Cosm LA, send me free tickets, to YouTube for the clips, to my lovely wife, Melissa Herbst. No thanks, as always, to the New York Yankees, the Dallas Cowboys, USC Trojans.
Go
we
Dodgers.
hate all of them, and the Raiders. We do not like them. So if you want to bitch about me hating all of them, bitch in the comments, bitch away, but you will never change me on those. But again, thank you, everybody, and I will see you next time on Everybody Has a Podcast with Chris Herbst.